How important is it for a person to travel?
Every enlightened person has traveled.
That's when you discover new things, you learn, seeing the world, and at what cost. Traveling makes you meet yourself.
How important is it for a person to travel?
How important is it for a person to travel? I really believe that life extends outside of your little bubble, you know, where you reside, where your core community is. Because when you go outside of that community, that's when you discover new things, you learn from your own experiences rather than taking everybody else's opinions for granted. And on the other hand of things, it's a, you know, pros and cons. It's difficult when it's a small population and there's billions of people in the world that want to go and explore. But there are parts of the world that have been destroyed by humans that, you know, we sort of take over a space. Nature does prevail. But it's also the air pollution with our traveling. It's this blessing and curse of being able to explore the world wherever you want to go, and at what cost to the earth. It's that's a hard one, right? The carbon footprint, but it's more accessible than any time before in the history of the world.
Yep.
My husband is a big advocate for AI and VR. He's an early adapter, and he would tell me, he says, students, kids, people will start to explore the earth in VR. And the concept, it sounds crazy because, you know, I am so much more of a tangible person. I want to be there in it. But if it isn't sustainable, if it isn't environmentally friendly, but we can explore these places through VR, it's pretty remarkable what you can see and maybe eventually smell. They'll maybe incorporate some other sense.
If I would say right now, like when we see any enlightened person, right, the history of how they lived their life, every enlightened person has traveled. We are going to Buddha. He traveled. And in many religions, they say that traveling opens up. Mm-hmm. Traveling opens you up. By traveling, you meet yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you have met everyone else, but you have not met yourself. Traveling makes you meet yourself.
I like that. Traveling makes you meet yourself. Yeah, but it's not available to everybody. So the definition of traveling, like we're talking about traveling across the ocean or traveling to the next town.
It was not defined. Traveling was not defined in early times.
Yeah.
They just used to take a bag and go, just walk.
Yeah.
They used to walk for like miles and miles. It's today that we have these flight tickets. Yeah. The easy access. That is coming with the negative impact on the planet.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's the struggle I think most of us are, you know, having about seeing the world and at what cost.
Do you think there are more cons than pros?
That's a debate question that my husband would love to answer, because he would just keep coming up with pros and cons on both sides of things. I think it's subjective. I think the pros and cons list is different for everybody. For me, because of my situation with my husband and son in Iceland, you know, I'm mindful of how many times I'm going back and forth. And then you think about people who are in business and they're traveling for meetings all over the world all the time, and what kind of carbon footprint that leads to.
Of course.